Oshiomhole brothers, we can cut it here. You know, people always talk about what will win Nigeria. Nigeria is whatever you want to say. Let me say on this day that regardless of all the challenges that we face, and there are quite a number, Nigeria is much more than the sum total of all those challenges. So I am an optimist. I am not given to lamentation. And I think that regardless of what anybody wants to say, things are changing. They may not be changing as fast as the average person would want it. And I do not also want us to be like the tortoise that was in a pit latrine for many years. And when they were now trying to rescue the tortoise, they were saying, do it fast, 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 because the place is smelling. But it has been there for some years. Nigeria has challenges, but we even have much more. I believe the future is bright. Those who, the part of the consequences we've suffered is the result of the way in which what the economists and those who discuss in high professional language called ways and means, those Naira they printed running to trillions of Naira, substantially explain the crisis we are facing today. When you print money exactly in the manner that Idi Amin asked his CBN governor to do. And the CBN governor, that Idi Amin, had the courage to say, sir, if we do it, our money will become like toilet paper. And you have what Idi Amin do to the guy, and he said, show him what they do with toilet paper. That's exactly the same way the immediate past governor of CBN treated tons of trillions of Naira that is not backed by any economic fundamentals. And so the result is you have so much Naira that is not arising from work, not arising from production, and is not distributed transparently. It was in the hands of very few people who then pump it to buy foreign currency, knowing that the long-term consequences will be that you have so much money, so much Naira, chasing few dollars that you actually earn for your export. And that explains the consistent downward trend of the value of the Naira and, of course, the upward trend of the dollar, which now translates to galloping inflation. By the time the Naira hit 2,000 to 1 Naira, most people have given up. But the question to us, where did people find this 2,000 Naira to buy $1? Because of the amount of money that was recklessly printed. I don't use the word waste and means because that one confused the ordinary man. We have to reduce these economic jargons to layman language. When government print money senselessly to meet the Naira illusion, currency illusion of everyone. But the good news, I believe, is that, like I said, when the CBN governor was the CBN directors came for clearance, I did advise that I am not a believer in free market. I am not an apostle of invisible hand. And I said, I want a visible hand that is accountable. That's why we go for election. Now we have seen that the CBN governor is now deployed visible hand, working hand in hand with the fiscal authorities. We can see a handshake, a robust handshake, one complementing the other. And so those who were taking us to the road to Zimbabwe, before they got to Harare, the visible hand has intervened. And you can see that in such a creative manner that the Naira is beginning to appreciate. Many had given up that this patient was dead. Now we can see that the patient is bouncing back. And that tells you what is possible when you have the political will not to grant favor to some people. Like President Tinubu said, he said, if he chose to, he would have allowed this hemorrhage in which if you control the CBN, He allocates $1 or $2 million to you. You take it to a malam, or as they say, a boki down the corner, and you will be $1 million rich without any business address. That explains why when the Nigerian economy is constricting, or even under recession officially, you see your bankers or banks posting huge increase in their profit, which they share to few people in the name of dividends without effort. The fortune of banks ought to be tied to the fortune of the economy. If the economy is going down, those who lend or borrow, depositors and lenders, when they run into crisis, we are not supposed to see the bank making the kind of money they make. But when you have a two regime of exchange rate, one for those who are connected and the other for those that are not connected, you see, you have a small clique of people who make huge money without effort. Now, that window is closed. So what you get from the bank is now what you get from the Bureau de Change, or whatever title you choose to use. For me, this is the beginning. When there is no free money, if you want to make money, work. And when everybody work to make money, that is how the economy can recover over the medium to long term. So I think for me, I can say we are beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I just pray that this is sustained. It will be overnight, because we also didn't get ourselves plugged into this crisis overnight. It took a long period of gradual demolition of the Nigerian economy. And I would like to see a more robust trade policy so that this country doesn't become a dumping ground for imported goods, so that the Nigerian worker can regain his job. If you revive the textile industry, for example, and you get solution to your power situation, and they begin to employ labor, all of us, we are made in Nigeria, clothed in Nigeria, you can create more than 10 million good, sustainable jobs. So for me, I have hope for Nigeria, and I ask our people never to give up. There is no nation without its own challenges. Even the security challenge is bad as it is. When you watch the headline and see in some part of the world, a young man just carry rifle and start fire these school children and so on. Everybody has his own problem, but I believe that we must deal with it at two levels: the economic side of it, to keep people busy, and then deal with criminals who choose to resort to crime. Overall, I think it will be better. To say I'm 72, whether this was Nigeria of my dream. When I was born 72 years ago, I had no dream. I would just cry, according to my mother. I had to cry before I was taken out of the tree where I was born, not in a hospital. So, for this community, for example, there was no road here. There was no presence of government in this part of the world. We were not on the Nigeria map, but we are now on the map. So, I know it is easier and more facile to just play up the wrong numbers, play up the fault lines. But I think it's also good that we try to give younger people hope that wherever they want to migrate to, those countries were built. Ironically, many of them from African labor or that slavery. Every country has gone through stages of development, stages of civilization, etc. So I want you guys to preach the message of hope. The day people give up on hope, if they feel that there is no hope, then they will have no reason to want to put in any effort. I'm also not a believer of miracles. Nobody should preach to our people that if only they believe in this, tomorrow they will become something. There must be strong relationship between effort and reward. And people crying, wallowing in self-pity is also not a solution. My late father told me that poverty is not a disease. It's also not an excuse to be crying. It should be an incentive for you to go to the farm. And when I'm following him to the farm and it's raining, and I will say, Baba, why don't we wait? It's raining. And he will ask me, is there a hole on your head that water will enter? Let's go. And then he will point at one or two families within this community who are lazy, who sit at home when it's raining. But during harvest, they also have no need to harvest. While my father will be pointing with pride tubers of yam, cassava, gari, and the rest of it. So, and he has always told me, hard work does not kill. That explains why whatever I do, I put everything into it. So I don't want people to think that we are going to have omelette on the table without somebody's egg be broken. We must break people's eggs so that we can have omelette for all. And for the government to deliver the greatest good to the greatest number, the small number who constitute a cog in the wheel of progress have to be dealt with. And that is why now you can see some fresh air, coming out gradually. Maybe not as fast as you want, but it will come. It's already here. So I can see a renewed hope already.